Hey guys, I'm Darcy. I'm kind of a hot mess today, so I apologize. I'm all like makeupless and my hair's a mess, but I wanted to make a video for you anyway. And as I'm thinking about it now, it's kind of applicable to what we're talking about. Twitter voted for me to talk about what if I want to quit. And I feel qualified to talk about this because I myself have wanted to quit, and I have multiple friends who have wanted to quit, and I have friends who have quit. So this is for you, this is for them, for whoever needs to hear it. First off, I would say if you are tired of writing, if you are tired of, forcing yourself to write, if you're tired of the story you're working on or whatever, there are many strategies that you can try before quitting, before like quitting outright. So I would suggest, if you're having this emotion of like, I just want to be done, then be done for a little bit. Take some time away from the project or the writing or the story or whatever it is, and examine, sort of get yourself out of that negative place and really examine why you want to quit. What is it that's pushing you towards that negativity? Stepping back to take inventory, I guess, of how you're feeling toward your writing, toward your story or whatever, will help you recognize what the problem is, right? And depending on what the problem is, will help you know what to do, okay? If it's a story problem, you're just having an issue with the story and you can't figure it out, it's this block or whatever the problem is, maybe try writing something else, right? Think of something that you're excited to write, a story that makes you want to sit down and start working, right? Find that place again, and then start letting yourself think about that other story and try to work through it, finding what will work. But you have to have that spark, there are, I will say, disclaimer, working writers who have deadlines and things have to deal with this differently. If you have a deadline that you have to meet, then you have to write, right? You have to get it done. In a lot of those cases, if the stress or the story is not working or whatever, most cases, my understanding, again, I'm not agented, I'm not a publishing professional, disclaimers. In most cases, you can go to your agent and they can go to the publisher. And if it's a really big deal, you can push deadlines back, right? That's what agents are there to do. You go to your agent, you ask for help, you say, I can't figure this out, I need more time, and they will help you. But if you don't have deadlines, then you don't have to worry about that, okay? If you have just given yourself a deadline and you're not gonna meet it, that's okay. Like you can only train yourself to meet deadlines so much, right? You have to give yourself permission to take a break, to take a step back. On the other hand, if it's something like a stress problem, like for example, the last 2 years, I had 2 babies. Our car broke down, we were kicked out of our apartment, a lot of crap happened to me in the last 2 years. And I didn't really write anything. I revised a manuscript a lot. I worked on it here and there, but nothing consistent. I could never get myself to sit down on a regular basis and work because I just had too much else going on in my head, right? There was so much stress in my life. I couldn't think about the story, and that's okay, right? Again, I didn't have deadlines. Actually, I did have a couple and I met them, thankfully. There were just short stories and articles and things. But for my books, I didn't have deadlines. And that was a big relief. I didn't have to worry about that. If I didn't if I didn't have the mental space to be able to work, then I didn't have to. And I let myself do that. So if it's a stress problem, if you've got too much going on in your life, I am here to give you permission to take a break, to take some time off, to step away from the story, and that is okay. Now, if you have begun to hate writing, and I don't just mean hating the words on the page, if you have begun to hate and feel resentment toward having to sit down and put words down, you know who you are, then I am here to give you permission to quit. It's okay. You don't have to do this. And in fact, I would say that if you are feeling angry and resentful toward writing, that you shouldn't. I wouldn't. If I hated having to sit down and write, I wouldn't do it. I don't have time for that in my life. I don't have time for the negativity that would be flowing through me. I would much rather spend my time on other things, and that's okay. That is okay. The final thing I would like to say is that if you do take some time off, whether it's a day or a week or a month or a few years, that I would recommend really, truly letting go. Okay? Put it aside. Like, if you're gonna quit, then quit. Like, put your notebooks away, put your laptop away, like, don't open your manuscript, just let it go. Really, truly let it go. Give yourself permission to not do it. And that is okay. I will say that if you are a writer, and if this is a talent that is innate in you and that you are good at and that you enjoy doing, if there's a part of you that does still enjoy it, is what I'm saying, give yourself permission to come back to it someday, to maybe come back to it someday. Quit, right? Put it away, close the door, but leave it unlocked, right? That's my advice, because that's what I've done. I know that that's what some of my friends have done, and we kind of all came back eventually, But on the other hand, if you never come back to writing, that's also okay. Because if you're part of the writing community and you have writer friends, we need cheerleaders too, like, we need readers. We need people who know writing, who can help us and encourage us, right? But you don't have to be a writer to do those things. You don't have to be actively writing to do those things. For me, every time I stepped away from my writing, I would ask myself, what I ultimately want. And for me, that's publication. Like, I want to be traditionally published. That's what I feel I need to go after, and that's what I feel that's what I am going to do. I've seen, at least from the outside, how stressful and how crazy publishing can be, and I'm trying to prepare myself for that. I'm hoping that eventually I'll have an agent to help me navigate the stresses and the craziness of publishing. That's my goal, though. I want to be published, and I want to see my words in print and have a beautiful cover and all of those things, right? And I want to, side note, and I know this is getting long, I'm sorry. Sometimes I'll look on an author's page, like a list of the books that they've written. And when I see that an author has written 15, 20, 30 books that they just have out there in the world, I'm like, that's what I want, right? It just gives me chills, knowing that's possible. That's what I want, So anyway, for me, quitting doesn't mean quitting necessarily, but if you need to quit, then quit. take a break, take stock. Ask yourself what you ultimately want to do with your writing. And if it's just going to be a hobby, then there's no stress. You don't have to worry about finishing it at any given point. You'll finish it eventually, and you can put it down, and that's okay. So thank you for watching today, guys. I'm sorry this video probably got really long, but I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye.